And we are live! Hey guys, this is Brad and Mike from Dallas Geek, and we are here with our very, very fresh, very still processing opinion on Spider-Man Far From Home. Like, when I say very fresh, we literally just got back from watching it. Mike?
Brad?
You gonna participate in this?
Well, I'm trying to figure out which is worth more, Google or Disney, per our discussion we were having a couple minutes ago.
Well, I guess did you get an answer?
No, it's just showing me stock exchange rates and everything like that. It's not showing me the
Who has a higher stock rate?
Actually, I was
later.
Yeah, fair.
So, Spider-Man.
What are we talking about? Oh yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, it was okay.
So, just from the outset, this will be our spoiler-free review, which of course means this is going to be the shorter of the two reviews that we do. We will be posting a spoiler-filled review next week. We do want to give everybody at least a chance to get through the weekend without us spoiling things for you.
Right.
So, you know, we're not going to be those guys.
Yeah, nobody spoiled Endgame for me, so I won't spoil this for anyone else.
That's fair. Now,
because I did have friends that saw it the day before release, or 2 days before release. And they
we weren't part of that group.
No, I had to work the next morning.
It's fair.
And they straight up showed me the text that they had set up to send me during, and I would have murdered all of them.
Anyway,
moving on.
If this is y'all's first time to watch us, thank you for joining. And as always, please, if you're not already, be sure to like and follow us on Facebook and like and subscribe on YouTube.
Down here, I think, right?
YouTube. Right here. Here's the subscribe. Like is down below.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah. So let's get started. What did we think about Spider-Man Far From Home?
I don't know. What did we think?
I think we thought it was freaking amazing.
It was pretty, was there a pun intended in there, or? No, the movie was, it's gonna be really hard to review this without spoilers.
So,
not that I think about it.
Now, I will just go ahead and throw this one out there. If you were one of the people that actually paid close attention to most of the trailers that Sony put out, Sony has zero restraint with what they put in the trailers.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, especially the latest TV spots, they gave away almost every major plot point.
Yeah.
Like all the way through the almost end of the third act. They didn't give away everything, but I'd say 90% of what you're going to walk into for the movie, in some way, form, or fashion, Sony screwed up and put it into the trailers. So it was more, you go and you are there for the experience, not necessarily the surprise, like Marvel does with their complete movies.
There's one surprise.
There is one that they didn't really give you, but comic book readers kind of saw coming.
Yes. Actually, there's technically two surprises.
That is true.
Post-credit.
Post-credit.
Yeah.
Well, that one's 3.
There's 3. Oh, yeah. Shit, there is 3.
So, we will not be talking about the post-credit scenes, but we will go ahead and if you were interested to find out, are there post-credit scenes, we'll just tell you right now, yes, there are 2. And one's mid-credit, one is in-credit.
And they both have major ramifications for what's coming next.
And if you've been keeping up with rumors about what Phase 4 will be, they do lean into one of those rumors about what Phase 4 is going to become. And if once we see the next big announcement from Disney about Phase 4, if it confirms it, then it officially means that Far From Home may be one of the best standalone Marvel movies that they put out for Phase 3.
So are they going to be announcing that at San Diego, or are they announcing it at D23?
They have not said, which is, that's kind of Feige's thing, but still.
Damn you, Feige. And also bless you, all at the same time.
Oh, so much.
I know, right?
But yes, without giving anything away, like Sony freaking did. Okay, so let's go ahead and just say what's the good, what's the good, what's the bad, and
it's going to be really hard
Yeah.
to do this without spoilers. Like, it really is.
So, I mean, so there was a thing, and then there was that other thing.
Some stuff blew up.
And then, that really big thing.
And then some stuff maybe didn't blow up.
And then the thing that happened but didn't happen, but then definitely happened. And then the people at the place with the other people and the thing.
I hate you so
Remember
much
that?
right now. I hate you so much right now. This is worse than you with your Spider-Man for weebs or whatever the hell.
Once again, if you did not see our Spider-Man, like, overall Spider-Man review saying who was the best Spider-Man.
Toby.
Go check that out. You'll understand that reference.
No.
And no, Tom.
Toby.
Tom.
Toby.
Tom, and I think this movie definitely solidifies his credibility.
So I will say this is the movie where going in, I think the argument that I had made is that we hadn't seen Tom Holland grow enough with the character.
Yeah.
And that kind of basically got squashed with this movie. So this was his growing up movie.
Yeah, it was.
So this was he's back from, I don't like what they called the decimation in this, the blip. I was kind of
I mean, granted, it's not like they could call it the snap because most people aren't going to know Thanos and the details behind everything.
Right.
And even if they tried to explain it, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to the vast majority of the population.
But it makes sense because I guess the high school kids coined it.
Yeah, so it's a thing.
Yeah. The decimation's better.
You want to move your light there? I just realized that I screwed up and we have some really odd shadows.
Where am I at?
Like, yeah, there you go. Now we're good.
Cool.
So,
that was a little goofy.
yeah, they called it the blip, not the snap, the blip, and everybody kind of followed suit.
Right.
Like literally everybody.
So that was a little goofy, but they actually had a really clever way of explaining how everybody basically stayed the same age.
So they addressed the issues with time differences.
Right.
Within the first 10 minutes of the movie?
Yeah.
Which
they're basically like, oh, it happened to everybody, and then this will be a bit of a spoiler because it's a throwaway scene. It's literally you see them in the middle of a basketball game, they're at a pep rally, and people start disappearing, and then it shows footage of 5 years later, and there's a basketball game, and everybody just pops up right where they were.
Yeah.
So that's kind of their way of addressing, hey, this is what happened. They even reference the fact one of the characters is basically like, yeah, my little brother's now older than me because he kept growing, and
which is funny
and I'm back.
Because that character actually plays a bit of a major minor role in this movie.
Right. So, which is really funny. But
yeah.
So that's kind of their way of. We immediately are coming out of Avengers Endgame with this, and
yeah.
The world's trying to get back to normal,
and they basically just knock it out to be able to say, hey, if you haven't seen Endgame, we're giving you the only pieces that matter to you,
right? And
then go from there. So yes, if you have not actually seen any of the rest of Marvel Phase 3, and you've only seen Spider-Man Homecoming, and now you're seeing Spider-Man Far From Home, you still understand what's happening,
right,
without needing to catch up on the entire MCU,
right.
Which I will say I actually do appreciate, partially because we do have to acknowledge this is not Marvel pure property,
right,
and so they need to be able to have it stand alone, but also because it's just nice to see movies in the MCU that you can watch without needing to be so dependent on having seen every single Marvel movie.
Right.
It's nice to have something more self-contained, while still having those references, though. That part is nice. So if you have seen it, you get more out.
Sorry, I'm distracted by the cat. What were you saying?
Yeah.
No, but you're right. This one does serve as a really good standalone. I just don't know if we don't have the post-credit scenes that we have, I don't know if this is the right way to end Phase 3.
Okay. So, yeah,
But then the question becomes, I guess, where does it fit? Because it doesn't really kick off Phase 4. This is its own story.
Yeah, and it is still within the Phase 3 storylines.
Right.
So I'll say, in a way, it feels very much like the first Iron Man.
Yes.
Because the movie itself has context to the world around it, but it is not dependent on the world around it.
Right.
And the post-credit scenes are the one and only piece that officially tie in with the overarching MCU.
Right.
So
and they tie in a big way.
Right in that sense.
Right. Like it almost feels like this movie's kind of in limbo in terms of where it should fit in. And I don't say that in a bad way.
No, it's an odd time in the overall storyline to have this, because you want to end Phase 3 with Endgame.
Right.
Because it was just such a big event. But you need this storyline to be able to ground not just Spider-Man, but honestly the MCU overall in a way that Endgame couldn't, because it was such a big event.
Yeah.
And so it's necessary, but because of the scale, it just feels different.
Like even the main villain in the film is talking about how they need an Avengers level threat to kind of so it's still kind of tying into that, but at the same time, like, you're right, like they did go out of their way to kind of show you, like, here's the rest of the world, here's how they're dealing with everything. Like, here's what was the great line that Ned says, like, if I know anything, Europeans love Americans.
Yeah. Oh.
So like they're bringing it kind of, everyone's back, everything's kind of going back to normal,
but not really.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really, really solid movie, and honestly, in my opinion, I think that it's kind of tied with Spider-Man 2 in terms of the best that a Spider-Man movie has to offer so far. Spider-Man 2 has more emotional beats.
It really does.
But in terms of character development, and overall scope of what a Spider-Man story can be, I think they're equal.
So this one,
they just have different focuses. This one's more action and comedy, and Spider-Man 2 is more dramatic and
more
a bit of action.
Sorry, the coffee's wearing off.
Nah.
Yeah, this one was really. This one was obviously the big action.
Yeah.
So they had the big action set pieces. They had the big, comedic kind of ha-ha moments. But at the same time, this was also, like I said earlier, this is where we saw Peter Parker grow. This wasn't Spider-Man. This was Peter Parker's story.
Yes.
This was him dealing with his insecurities. This is him dealing with. Should we just treat it like everybody's seen Endgame at this point?
Yeah. So. Spoilers only if you haven't seen Endgame. If you have, you're fine.
So,
if you haven't, whoops.
So this one is very much about Peter Parker dealing with the fact that Spider-Man has to find his place in this world because Tony Stark is gone.
Yeah. And I mean, the trailers give that away.
Captain America is gone, and because the Avengers essentially are gone at this point. So this is very much him kind of coming to terms with the fact that he is the next generation.
Yeah. Like,
he is going to have to step up and be a symbol, not just for the neighborhood, because remember in the first one at the end, he's offered the Avengers position. At the end of Homecoming, and he says, I think I'm just going to stick closer to the neighborhood.
And then Infinity War, he is forced into a position as an Avenger. And then
Nick Fury,
Endgame, he kind of embraces it for the bit he's in.
Yeah. So, and now this one is him coming to terms with the fact that
it's real. It's not just a here and there kind of responsibility.
Right. He's still a 16-year-old kid. However, if you want to be a superhero, like, now's the time to be a superhero.
Yeah.
And they do a really great job of that. Like,
they really do.
That is the thing that they did the best in this film in terms of Peter growing into, like, because at one point he's talking with the character, and he's like,
we can say which character.
Yeah, he's talking to Mysterio.
Yeah.
To Quentin Beck. After one of the big battles where they fight one of the elementals. And he's like, what do you want to do? And he's like, well, I want to do this, but it doesn't matter because I have all of these responsibilities.
Yep.
And he's like, well, why? And he's like, no, it does. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, Tony Stark trusted me with all of this.
And
he's like, I have to live up to that.
And they still have to have, like, between the two of them, they have that debate about where do you draw that line for yourself personally.
Right.
Which, honestly, is kind of a timely message.
Right.
Because there are so many conversations happening in real life where people are trying to figure out where that line is for themselves.
Exactly.
About the things that they commit to, about how they define themselves because of the new push for personal mental health.
Yeah.
It's a conversation that people are having, and now we get to see one of our favorite superheroes having exactly that same conversation about trying to figure out who he is and
how
trying
he fits into the world. Exactly.
Yeah, trying to find his place, which is wonderful. Honestly, I think that if they were going to ever try to time this movie, it could not have been better timed for what the public needs from it than it could have been right now.
Absolutely. No, I completely agree. Like, this was very much everybody's trying to find their place in the world, especially kids, especially teenagers.
Yes.
So here's one that's got superpowers.
Now figure it out.
Yeah, now figure it out. And the entire time, and they do tackle the fact that he idolized Tony Stark, and Tony Stark very much was his father figure.
And now that's gone.
Right.
And now
he
he's
mentored
only
him.
On himself.
Right. And he's
he thinks he's only on himself.
Right.
That's a big
But he's
piece.
second guessing himself at every turn.
Yeah.
And there's that scene with Happy where he's like, and they show it in the trailer, he's like, I don't think Tony would have done what he did if he didn't know that you were going to be around after he was gone.
Yeah.
And that
and
kind
even
of is
him saying that, no, you're not Iron Man.
Right, nobody's going to be
Iron Man. Could be Iron Man.
Right.
Even Tony could be Iron Man. And there's this.
I think the line was
they showed some of it in the trailer, but we won't really go into it in depth until our spoiler review.
I think the line was
it's a very moving conversation between the two.
Like, I think the line was, you're not gonna live up to Tony Stark because Tony Stark couldn't even live up to Tony Stark.
Yeah.
He's like, it was his way of saying, like, you are your own man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're capable of dealing with the problems.
Yeah. Don't
try to deal with it the way Tony would have. Be yourself.
Or don't even make the image of Tony your ideal when even Tony couldn't live up to his own image.
And that's something that
they go in and they even talk about the things that Happy saw behind the scenes with Tony from all 3 Iron Man movies and
all the Avengers movies,
it gives
Civil War, all of it.
It gives Peter a new sense of understanding about what it really means to have this responsibility.
Right.
And it's a really great message for especially the younger members of the audience to be seeing right now.
Right.
It's so well done.
Well, also they talk about the fact, they really hammer it home by, like, literally everywhere he goes, he sees or he's reminded of Tony Stark.
Which is actually something that I have to say, for the cinematography,
almost
John Watts did he really learned a lot from Homecoming to Far From Home, especially because before Homecoming, he hadn't done anything like this. He hadn't done a blockbuster. I don't even think he had done a movie before. I think Homecoming was his first movie.
No, he had done something. Yeah, keep talking.
Okay.
I'll go to the IMDb.
Oh, here, I already have it pulled up.
No.
Here, just look him up. So
on it.
Yeah, that's really the thing, though, that you're left looking at it going, so much. You can see how he saw what he did with the first movie. He saw how all the other Marvel movies treated his character, and he's learned so much cinematically, and he's understood now how to do a Spider-Man movie.
Clown and Cop Car are his only other credited directorial.
And those are both, like, really low budget, though.
Yeah, indeed.
Like, I've seen the trailer for Clown.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Cop Car, but if it's Kevin Bacon, recently he's really only done the smaller stuff.
He's gonna save the world by dancing, so
yeah,
we're good.
But yeah, no, John Watts clearly learned a lot, and it showed so much in this. And part of that was with the cinematography. they made sure that every new location they had, there was some image of Iron Man or Tony Stark somewhere in the background, even if it was only for half a second. You saw it and your mind registered it as an audience member, and it just kind of put more impact in as the movie went on. It was great. But yeah, no, you could definitely tell that the cinematography game got beefed up from
especially during the fight scenes.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Especially during the fight scenes, which we can't go into a lot of
even
detail.
Though, I will say that there was one part that kind of took me out of the moment with the fight scenes. There were a few times during the fights when you could really see the CGI. Like, it didn't feel as seamless, but that was also because literally so much was happening in the scene that was CGI, and certain parts that were entirely CGI because of how much was happening,
and because of what was happening.
Yeah, and you were just left sort of like, it pulled you out of the moment for a minute, but even then I was okay with it because of what we were watching. And that has to do with the plot. But still, when you're coming from in-game budget and what they can do with massive CGI for an entire scene versus
it also has to
far
do with
from
the
home budget.
It also has
CGI.
to do with the director and all of that.
But I mean, the more budget you have for CGI, it does make a difference. And unfortunately for Far From Home, it was a very ambitious movie that the CGI budget clearly had limitations for, but still did a fantastic job. It's that noticeable notch between. That's it. And honestly, I don't even know if anybody other than like someone like us who pays close attention to those items would really even notice it. Like your average moviegoer, I don't know if they would notice.
Yeah, it's possible. But
so
I think this might be a good time to call it for the spoiler-free review.
Because we have so much that we want to say that we can't say. Just know, if you're going into this and you haven't really seen many of the trailers, and you've been either intentionally or unintentionally avoiding any marketing for this, you're the winner here, because you're going to enjoy this so much more. It's a thing.
Yeah, it is.
But on that note,
go see the damn movie.
Yes, please. How would you rate this? 1 to 5, 5 being the best. How would you rate Far From Home?
A 4.75.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 4.9.
I'm gonna say 4.75.
I think it was ambitious in all the right ways. It was well acted, and the humor was actually some of the best that we've seen from Marvel.
No, it was
in a while.
It was
all
great.
of Phase 3. I think this may have been the funniest movie in Phase 3.
For me, it had to do with the fact that we won't be seeing this villain again.
Well, sort of.
And that's
sort of
right.
Complicated. Wait for the spoiler review.
But that's the only.
Yeah.
That's and it's a big complaint because of. How well it was done.
Yeah. Just know that the chemistry between the main actors in this movie was fantastic.
It absolutely was.
I don't think we could have asked for better.
No.
So with that, if you have not seen this movie,
go see it.
Go see it. It's the holiday weekend. You have time. Theaters are probably going to be packed, but you'll find the time. It's worth doing it right now.
Go see it today or take a day off tomorrow. Go see it tomorrow.
And in fact, I would even say it's more important for people to go see it between now and the end of the weekend, only because we need to be proving to Marvel and Sony that we need to see more of this.
Well, I don't think we're going to have that problem.
It's that opening weekend money that they paid closest attention to about what they do for the next movies.
I don't think that's going to matter. 37 million yesterday?
Yeah, but still, every little bit matters for what we get back as fans.
Dude, it might hit 100 million by the end of the weekend.
Seriously, go see it.
Yeah.
Do it now.
Give them your money.
And once again, if you want to see the spoiler-filled review, that will be coming out on Tuesday.
But we're about to film it as soon as we're done with this.
Yes, we are, because we just can't we can't contain ourselves.
No, and we're going to say all of the spoilers, and we don't care who hears it. Even
All
if there's
of them.
anybody else in the house, we don't care.
All of them.
The cat down there, I don't care if he hears it.
So,
Sorry.
One last thing, as always, if this is your first time watching us, thank you for making it this far. Don't forget to like the video, like on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, and which, you know, Facebook, up here, just somewhere up here.
Yeah.
Like us. YouTube, subscribe. And of course, if you like what we have to do, but you don't always have time for the videos, you can catch the audio from every one of our live streams, interviews, all that fun stuff over on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play Store, Spotify, and Stitcher.
Tinder.
So,
Grinder.
I think you're talking about something entirely different.
Probably. Yeah, I'm gonna go back over here.
So, with that, this has been Brad and Mike with Dallas Geek. See ya.
Happy 4th of July. Be safe.